Hi, welcome back to Talk of the Town. Linda Piekut, Executive Director of the Heritage Library, stops by WHHI-TV today to explain the archaeology work being done at Zion. Linda, welcome.
Thank you, Sandy. It's nice to be here.
Great to have you, as always. So tell us a little bit about the archaeology work that is actually going on at Zion.
Sandy, we have had so much fun. We've had a ground penetrating radar study done of the cemetery, and they've found, of course, a whole lot of unmarked graves because it's a very old cemetery. It's pre-Civil War cemetery. Okay. And Zion is the Zion Chapel of Ease was the planters' church on Hilton Head.
Okay.
Revolutionary War to Civil War, antebellum period. And so we found a lot of unmarked graves. We found a rectangle underground that we're interested to figure out what that is.
Huh.
I have a suspicion, but I can't say till I get the reports.
I was gonna say, okay.
And then we went back. The old maps have showed us that the church was located in the wooded area that's between the Zion Cemetery and the Darling Eye Center.
Okay.
So we cleared some of the brush back there, and they ran the machine over, and they saw activity, but we haven't gotten the reports to know what it was. So
very interesting.
It is. It was great fun.
So for people who aren't really aware of the area, tell them where that's at.
Well, Zion Chapel of Ease Cemetery is located on the corner of 278 and Matthews Drive. Mm-hmm. It's across the street from Carrabba's.
Okay.
So in that cemetery now, there are, the oldest gravestone that we have is 1795,
right,
who was Lydia Devant.
Okay.
And the building in the cemetery is the Baynard Mausoleum, which is the oldest existing building on the island.
Wow.
It was built in 1846, which is not all that old.
Right.
But everything on the island was wood or tabby that disintegrated.
Okay.
And this is actually a brick building with sandstone fascia.
Okay.
All the design on the outside is sandstone. So
interesting. So
yes.
Who's conducting the work?
Dr. Matt Sanger from SUNY Binghamton.
Okay.
Is doing the work. He has a grant to actually do shell rings up and down the East Coast.
Okay.
And he is the man who came to Sea Pines last summer and will be back this summer doing the Sea Pines shell ring and doing the archaeology dig there.
Right.
And so we met up with him early on before he came to start the dig, and he was interested in what else was here.
Yeah.
And he has found that Hilton Head is just a treasure trove of archaeological. It's basically been pretty untouched as far as archaeology goes.
Oh, that's actually we're very lucky about
yes,
that.
Yes. And so he had some graduate students who were interested in Zion, and they came down for 2 weeks, just 2 weeks ago, and did this ground penetrating radar, and we discovered that they have a DNA lab. And we found bones in the mausoleum.
Okay.
So right now we are lining up our descendants, Baynard descendants, and his wife was a Scot. So we're lining up their descendants to do DNA studies to see if we can identify the bones.
That's incredible.
I know.
Really?
I know. It has been so fun.
Yeah.
This last couple of weeks.
So what comes next?
Well, there are several things. The DNA studies, definitely. We can do that without having to do any permitting or anything. But what we find in the cemetery, we're going to have to go through a whole process of permitting and getting permissions. People, they're very particular about digging in a cemetery.
Oh, sure.
And we are also, but we would like to be able to point out what we found in some way.
Yeah.
And so, and within that rectangle that I pointed out, we did find some gravestones that are laying flat under the ground.
Wow.
So that
and they were covered?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, they're completely under the dirt. So they would identify some more people that we know have to be buried there.
Will you have the results and what's going on the website?
Yes, we will. At this point, when we get the report, then we'll have something that we can,
Sure.
say. So
Wonderful. Linda, thank you for joining us today.
thank you, Sandy.
And we thank you so much for joining us on today's Talk of the Town.